tarot, but basically it's Yod. Basically, it's the manifest finger of reality. Basically, this is what makes it happen. This is what not allows it to happen. This is what makes it happen. As we deal with this concept, we deal with the concept of, see, we're going beyond contemplation, concentration, meditation, concentration. We're going even beyond that. He makes a specific effort in here. Now, some of it's a little complex if you don't understand the Masoretic. Some of the graphs, some of the charts. The Masoretic isn't important. What's important here is when he deals with the concept of the Lord's Prayer. So, if you could deal with it from the Islamic concept or the Buddhist concept, but we deal with things from the Christian concept. It's like he's basically describing, and that's what this entire concept is about. It's basically describing how. So, it's the Lord's Prayer. He does it in Latin for you, and it's very good to reread that part 2 or 3 times. Our Father, who art in heaven. See, and he really breaks that down. Blessed be thy name. And he's breaking it down. He's basically showing how the concept of God, and he even mentions it in there. In Hermetics, we refer to the God concept neither as masculine or feminine, but as the Blessed One. That Ein Sof concept. The concept of something that human consciousness itself, even with an absolute application, even with an application of all of your mind, all of your ability, basically is inconceivable. The human mind, because it is based on a binary concept, cannot quite conceive of this concept of God. And see, so he takes the Lord's Prayer and he breaks it down piece by piece by piece so that you can get an understanding of why it was created. So it's just like the Diamond Sutra was created in Buddhism to try and help understand the Hindi philosophy. In Islam, they take the easy way out. They just say God's will. Whatever Allah wants. That's the easy way out. But still, it's the same thing. It is more than we can ever realize with just the human mind. And yet, we're giving it the necessary, you can call it respect, love, whatever you want. We're giving it the necessary aspects in order to return to it. That's the process of creation. This is what humanity is supposed to be doing, returning to that perfection of oneness without judgment. And that's the entire concept of Yod. The entire concept of, you are, this is the way it is, this is the way it's going to be. The entire purpose of humanity is to say, okay, God, tell me what to do. Instead of trying to tell God what to do. See? It's that removal of judgment. The removal of judgment above and beyond physical reality, which is a binary reality. That's the entire thing he deals with. When he's dealing with, like that one chart he shows with 3, 3, and 3, and the Ein Sof up here, you don't have to become an expert at Masoretic. He's dealing with the 10 spheres of the tree of life. See, he's saying that there are 10 personalities or 10 intelligences that make up the entire process of reality. Reality coming down to Malkuth, but the top end being Kether, and above that, the Ein Sof. So it's like, our process as humans is to understand all 10 intelligences so that we can allow ourselves, if at all possible, to, I wouldn't bother, to allow ourselves, if at all possible, to achieve that oneness with the concept that created all of this. So it's a very religious concept. It fits into, that's the beauty of Hermetics. It fits into any religious theosophy. It fits into any non-dogmatic or non-judgmental situation. And it certainly gives you the ability to become a magician or a high priestess, whatever you want to call it. Pay particular attention to that part where he goes, there are many, many, many more magicians than there are theurgists. It's pretty easy for me to take you through this pathway during the next, I don't know, take 6 or 8 months and get you through this process where, excuse me, I had a rain suit on all day. To take you through this process where you develop the ability to control your own reality as long as you're not harming someone else. It's relatively easy to do that. But to actually become a theurgist, to actually achieve the point where you come close to achieving that communion with God, that communion with all that is and ever will be, that's the true path. That's truly what we wish you to seek. You see, so this is the turning point here at the 10th Arcana, is we get into lessons 35, 36, and we're going to break this 10th Arcanum into 3 separate classes, just because it's almost 50 pages long. And we never managed to get it across. But the concept we're dealing with here is that concept of the Lord's Prayer, if you deal with it from the Christian concept. Our Father who art in heaven, above anything that's here on this planet, outside of binary duality. Blessed be thy name. See, and it falls back into that logos situation. Blessed be. Have you ever noticed that's the way we always sign the blog? Blessed be. You see? It's like, it's like requesting contact. It is not designed to be used to request sustenance. It is designed to request contact. Please guide me. Please stop me from abusing my neighbor. As long as I have something to eat, I am fine. you have given us all of this. And I'll tell you, traveling again on a bicycle, as old as I am, is an amazing thing. You meet such amazing people out in the country. We've been to 2 towns, and just not much over 100 miles, but not a hell of a lot more, that have less than 100 people. 3 now, less than 100 people. And do you know what it is to visit a community and meet 50, 60, 70 people, and not one of them have anything negative to say about any other person in that community? Now, can you imagine that kind of place? In these 3 communities, we've never heard anyone say, "Oh, John doesn't mow his lawn," or "Maggie's a loose woman." We've never heard that. We've never heard that. They're close to the earth, and they're closer to God than anyone or any place you can possibly visit. That's the beauty of it. They're like a cohesive community. We were in Pie Town. That's right on the Continental Divide. Back in the 18th century, the cowboys and cattle drivers used to stop there, and they'd have fruit and pies. So they call it Pie Town. There's no store. There is no store. There are 2 restaurants that make pies. They're best friends. They're best friends. Make wonderful pies. We were told about this little place called the Toaster House by some other cyclists. That's right on the Continental Divide Trail. We pulled in there. The lady that runs the place stopped by and threw a 30-pack of beer in the refrigerator because she knew I drank beer. The food's there. There's no charge. You leave what you want. See, this is what humanity is supposed to be. This is how you get closer to God. You see, it's a wonderful place. And the town we're in now, we're a mile out of town at the BLM campground. We bicycled in this morning so I could get some cigarettes and a beer. And we ordered breakfast. There's a little restaurant. After 45 minutes, I had to ask the gal, "What's going on? Did you forget us?" And she says, "Oh, we're never in a hurry in Dato." I said, "Oh, fine. And I got a breakfast. I got a 3/8-inch thick slab of ham that they butcher themselves, a couple of eggs, toast hash browns, and Aggie had a big ham and green chili burrito. Okay. And anyway, $15. I mean, proof. See, that's the concept. That's what, humanity, the small communities all over the world, have always enjoyed that concept. They've always respected each other. Now, there's butt heads around all the time. But the concept is to find God. See? And that's what Yod is all about. The manifest finger of God. Or the manifest finger of you. When to dare, to know, to keep silent, and to will. You see? That's That's the concept of yad. That's the concept of rota. That's the concept. Everything is constantly turning. Everything is constantly turning. See? It doesn't pick a direction. You can turn it either way. And it is up to you to maintain your consciousness, your respectiveness to self. You see, it cannot happen as a result of someone else. Someone may assist you in understanding the principles, but it's something that has to be done by self. That's what Kabbalah, that's what Hermetics is all about. It's something you have to do. No one can turn around and say, here it is. They can say, here, this is how I've done it. This is how others have done it. But you are not going to achieve it doing it the way anyone else has done it. Achieving it is something that comes entirely from self. This is the principle they're trying to get across. And so, when he deals with the pathways between the intelligences, when he deals with the different ways, you will go from Kether to Chakma and then across to Binah, not down to Binah. Kether to Chakma and then across. Okay? As he deals with those concepts, he also gives you another way. See, there's two separate diagrams. I forget, 32 and 33, 31, 32, whatever they are. It's the individual pursuit that matters. If you try, you cannot fail. That's the real nice thing about it. If you try, you cannot fail. To know, to dare, to be silent, and to will. Now, you can go to an Islamic mosque, a Buddhist temple, a Shinto temple, a Christian church. They will all supply you with a pathway. But the true pathway, once you get into Tiphereth, has to be self. Even Cindy and Nancy, sisters forever. Individual pathways. Totally individual pathways. Okay, pick on me. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say, the answers I received from last week were all exceptional. Was Kayla's on the blog? I would encourage everyone to take a look at Kayla's. Not because his answer was more correct than anyone else's, but he did a very nice description. Nancy's answer was exceptional with a nice description. No one gave me the answer I was hoping for. Go ahead, Nancy.
Go back with my first feeling was 135.
I like that. Particularly if you went 351.
What about 423?
The concept is, see, this This is what I've been talking about. It's difficult for me to sit on the floor in a lotus position. The concept that I was just talking about, see, everyone is self. Finding the nine. Finding the nine. See, next week we're going to get into the mathematical aspects. You know, you can go 1 and 9 makes 10, right? 1 and 9. Consciousness and, you know, Kether, call it, or you can call it Malkuth, it doesn't matter. And then the 9 others make the 10 intelligences. Or you can go 9 and 1, where the 9 intelligence, the 9 other intelligences make your intelligence. This is one of the few cards. I won't get into the rest of the math until next week. This is one of the few concepts, this Yod concept, this manifest. This is one of the few concepts where putting the highest number first makes you stronger. See? Is Yod manifesting you. That's a real strong concept. Or are you, one, trying to manifest God by the other 9 intelligences? Are you trying to control the other spheres? Or are you allowing yourself to become one with them? You see, so this is the turning point. This is the turning point. This is where all of a sudden we're going to start getting into much more metaphysical presentation once we get into the higher arcana. The entire concept, the entire process of reality, that wheel of life, they call it the wheel of fortune, call it the wheel of life. That wheel of life, this constant spinning, this constant up, down, round and round that an individual goes through in their processes. The consistency of that, and it's relatively consistent, is what allows you to manifest your will. See? The problem we have, the dissatisfaction that people are suffering from, the lack of consciousness, respect for the planet, respect for the concept of God, respect for each other. The lack of that is because people are too busy living. I'm not saying don't live. I'm saying God has the concept of God, the concept of universal consciousness has to come first. In speaking about that, let me say one thing right now. A young lady from Houston, a Rice University opera singer, who was so good while she was working on her doctorate, she actually did a guest performance at the New York Met, was killed yesterday driving back from the Grand Canyon in a head-on collision. Anyone sends a little bit of juice to her Atman. Her name was Laura Botkin, a wonderful lady. I knew her, read for her. Anyone sends a little juice to her Atman for a peaceful transition, it would be appreciated. Anyway, sorry to get off track. But she was a very, very fine young lady, 27 years old. 27 years old. You know? One of them things, see, the circle. The circle. See? Some people will say it was her time. Some people will say it's a shame. It doesn't matter what you say, it's what happened. You see? And that's what this place is like. I mean, I could be sitting here right now, particularly an hour or so ago when I was standing outside watching the fire in my rain suit. You know, you get hit by a bolt of lightning. I mean, it is not your choice. Respect of the concept that allowed this. You don't even have to agree that that concept created it. All you have to do is realize that it allows it. That type of respect for that concept is what we're trying to deal with here with Yod. You know, manifestation. Manifestation. It's like if somebody turns around and takes bricks and mortar and builds a house. Where did the bricks and mortar come from? See? It all goes back to that manifestation. So you manifested the house, you built it yourself, but the tools were still there for you to do it. Where did the tools come from? So that's what it is. Seeking the source. Not defining it. Seeking the source. It's what Hermetics is all about. Seeking the source. As you start doing it the correct way, as you start allowing the realization of all that is around you and the balance and beauty of it, you will begin to achieve the ability to control how it manifests in your space. Abuse of that ability is a no-no, and we make sure people that want to abuse it don't get that far. But that is your God-given right. Everything that was placed here, everything that was placed here, everything that was placed here for you to use. Here's the campground host. Come in and say hello, Jack.
Hi.
I told him, no, you said you'd leave it open while we did
Oh,
that.
yeah.
This is the BLM campground host, Jack.
Hello.
And his wife's name is Rima. And he was nice enough to leave the building and the Wi-Fi open so we could do this evening.
I wish we had 100 guests just like it. Enjoy.
Okay, thank you very much, Jack.
Bye-bye.
But see, that's people. Now, and you know, I mean, we pulled in and he just goes, oh yeah, use the Wi-Fi. I'm like, Wi-Fi? At a federal campground? I never heard of it. For $2.50 a day? I mean, that's what it cost us to camp here. You know. I said, well, we'll stay 2 days. $5. Nice water, good water, good water. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. But it's also about the guy that stops you and goes, what are you doing? You can't bicycle here, and he happens to be a cop. It's also about him. He's part of it too. He's part of it too. You know? So, okay, ask me some questions. Once again, well, actually, I guess I'm fine time-wise. Today we're on federal Wi-Fi. But anyway, questions. Go ahead, Alan, what?
When he talks about the center of the wheel, the axle...
Okay, that's the neutral point. He calls it the neutral point. Am I correct?
I don't remember that.
See, the wheel's spinning like this. Everything is always in flux except the axle. The axle stays the same. So when we tell you, and we'll get into it a lot as we get into the higher arcana, the objective is to make the wheel smaller, your personal aspect of the wheel. See, remember we did the seesaw, and then we turned the seesaw into a disc. You see? So, everything has to be in balance. So if something really, really good's happening, there's going to be something really, really shitty over here. Boom, 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 boom on this thing here. The axle is the neutral point. Now, the objective is to experience the wheel, all 22 concepts, and keep bringing them closer. Picture a spiral where it's slowly getting closer to the center. The objective is to reach that neutral point. Shortly after that is where I haven't read the book in a while. Every now and then I look at it and make sure I remember what I'm talking about. But the objective is to reach that neutral point, that axle, that everything spins around. So, in a way, you might say that axle is the Ein Sof. But anyway, what was your question, Alan? I apologize.
Well, that was it. I thought it was the concept of like active, passive, neutral.
Correct.
Neutral point.
But that is the neutral. The axis itself is the neutral. It's actually the objective. It's without judgment. But nothing else can be without it. Nothing else can be without it. And, okay, now I want questions about the concept.
Okay. When he does the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, there you go.
Right. Okay.
Why does he change the pattern in the second 3?
Why did he change it?
Well, yeah, why does the pattern change? Because we did go 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Okay, so you have to see that. That's why so many people have so much trouble with this book. So you got first family.
Right.
Okay? And see, now the first family actually starts below the Ein Sof. And see, if you go just a little past that, you'll see him talking about second family.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's why the pattern's changed. Second family. The 10 is at the bottom. It's almost like an inverted triangle. Do you understand what I mean? The 8, 9, 10 is almost like it's almost like an inverted triangle. So it's
this pattern.
Correct. 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 So basically what we're dealing with here, and this is what I was talking about earlier, it's like you can do the 1 and 9, like I'm me, I'm in charge, which is basically what I keep telling people to do. I keep telling them, trust self, be sound. And I'm going to control the other 9. Or you can go, oh, as a result of the other 9, I am self. Okay? So, remember we talk about little I self and big I self? You say, well, the little I self is the one that's trying to control the other 9, and the big I self is the one that comes from the other 9. You get it? See? So the process we deal with is we're trying to get you. What happened to Kayla? Oh, Kayla got shut down. We're trying, and see, he uses a jetpack like we do. We're trying to get you to respond to the other 9 in a very egotistical way. You see, in a very, very egotistical way. We want you to be yourself. It's sort of like when Megan, that's how she always pronounced her name, moved in next to us down there in Tucson, and I said, oh, you ought to call yourself Megan. You see, you need self, but you need the big self. You need the big self. You need to respond to those upper 9 intelligence spheres, those upper 9 intelligences that represent the manifestation of God as He's trying to produce Himself into physical reality. You see, instead of trying to control them, your objective, not only in becoming a magician or a priestess, but your desire should be to become one with God. Not to take what God has given you and use it to your individual advantage, but to take self and use it to understand the intelligences and aspects of God, to try and understand the concept of God. Go ahead, Donald. Go ahead, Sim. I mean, I got lights flashing. What was it, Donald? Go ahead.
He says in the book that to have faith in the kingdom of God.
Excuse me?
He says in the book that to have faith in the kingdom of God, that part is to be considered a reflection of what is it? Reflection of the law, the mirror of.
Correct. But the kingdom of God is Malkuth. The kingdom of God is Malkuth, the bottom of the tree of life, the duality of reality. That's it. We live in the kingdom of God, which is based on duality. You know, one of the most rapidly growing and finally becoming accepted Christian theosophy did one really nice thing that still causes them some problems as far as public acceptance goes. But they put Satan as the brother of Jesus. See, they actually have, they begin, the Latter-day Saints, the Mormons. Their theosophy itself has got that binary between good and evil. They do not worship Satan, but they, wow, Kayla's having a hard time with this thing, I guess. Oh, I wanted to mention something while I'm thinking of it, Alan. You know, I've been bitching at Verizon since we left because the phone kept saying 1X, 1X. Couldn't even hardly make a call. We turned the jetpack on this morning, 3G, like that.
Awesome.
So I just wanted to mention it. But see, when he talks about the kingdom of God, they're talking Malkuth. They're talking Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel, us. See? It made us. See, that's That's the thing. And it's based on duality. It's based on duality. And so, turning around and rejecting the concept, rejecting all negatives, rejecting the concept of evil, puts you in a little box. I mean, they both exist. You have free will. You wouldn't be here if you weren't on the Jesus side. I mean, if you were on the Satan side, you'd be studying with someone else and not me, believe me. But it is all the kingdom of God. It's all the kingdom of God. Remember, how many times have I told you, Hitler and Gandhi were here at the same time? It's all the kingdom of God. Next question, I don't want to burn up too much. What, Megan? I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
So, there has never, ever been an instance where a human has completely understood God.
I did not say that. I did not say that. You can certainly rest assured. You can certainly rest assured that all avatars completely understood logos. Well, God, the Word, whether it be Jesus, Mohammed, Siddhartha, Zarathustra, Lasso, they all had it. Being able to put it into words. He even mentioned that in one of these 3 lessons. The best I can do with the human language is this. He even mentioned that. That's why we're pushing you to be telepaths. That's what's going to happen to you if you finish this successfully. You're going to be able to communicate on a different level with other people that are there. That does not mean we're avatars. That does not mean we are one with God. It just means that we can actually agree not to judge to the point that we can express ourselves without judgment and without fear and without worry about somebody knowing everything that I could possibly feel or think. And allow me to know everything that they could possibly feel or think in return. That's how the community works. It's a real funny place. There aren't any secrets. There aren't any secrets. But the liquidity of knowledge and the understanding is so pleasant and joyous that it surpasses anything your consciousness is capable of even perceiving at the present time. There are humans that have occasional contact with the concept. I wish I was one. I've been working on it for about 550 years, and I haven't done it yet. But it does happen. So don't think that you can't do it. Don't ever allow yourself to think that every one of you are not totally capable of being magnitudes and magnitudes and magnitudes beyond anything I've ever achieved. Do not limit self. Next question. All right, that's good. good night.